In the last section, we added in a tremendous amount of configuration to our travis.yaml file. Now, the last thing we have to add in here is a set of API keys that are going to give access to our AWS account over to Travis CI. So the last thing we have to do is generate that set of API keys and then enter them into this travis.yaml script. So let's get to it. I'm going to first get started by opening up my AWS console again. I'll then find the Services tab at the top, and I'm going to search for IAM. IAM is a service that is used to manage API keys that can be used by outside services. On the left-hand side, let me zoom in here, we're going to find the section of users, because we're essentially going to generate a new user that is going to be used by Travis CI. Then at the top, I'll find add user, and then I'll provide a username. So I'll give this a descriptive name. How about something like Docker React Travis CI? And then underneath that, I'm going to give programmatic access only. The set of API keys that we're going to generate here are only going to be used by Travis CI through network requests. Travis CI is never going to be making direct use of the AWS Management Console. We'll then hit next for permissions, and then we're going to attach existing policies directly. So we don't have any other policy groups or any other existing users. We're going to add some direct policies. Now these policies right here are essentially permissions. We are granting permissions to this new user that we are creating. So right now we're essentially listing out all the different things that this new user is going to have the ability to do. In particular, we want to make sure that this new user has the ability to deploy our application to Elastic Beanstalk. So I'm going to search for Beanstalk, and then I'll see a bunch of different policies that have been pre-generated by AWS appear here. You can look at the description of each. By far the easiest one to use is provides full access right here. So I'm going to make sure that I find provides full access, and I'll go all the way over to the left-hand side and click on that checkbox. And then I'll click on Next, Review, and then I'll create user. So that generates a set of API keys that can be used by Travis CI to deploy our application. Now this is really important. The secret access key that has been generated is only going to be shown to you exactly one time. So when you click on Show right here, and it shows you that API key, you need to make sure that you write this thing down, because if you want to get access to this key again, well, you can't. You would have to regenerate the key entirely. So we're going to now use the access key ID and the secret access key. Now one quick thing, we do not want to take those keys directly, our keys, and put them directly into our travis.yaml file. Remember, right now, our GitHub repository is entirely public. So if we put those those AWS keys into our repo and then push that up to GitHub, everyone in the world is going to have access to our AWS account. And so above all, we're going to make sure that we do not put those keys directly in here. Instead, we're going to make use of a feature of environment secrets provided by Travis CI. So I'm going to go back over to my Travis dashboard. Remember, you can get here at travis-ci.org. And I'm going to pull up my project. So again, I called mine Docker React. Then on the right-hand side, I'll find the More Options, and I'll go to Settings. We can then scroll down a little bit and find Environment Variables right here. So this right here is where we are going to stash those secret keys. These environment variables are going to be encrypted and stored by Travis CI. So we don't have to worry about outside people getting access to those keys and kind of making use of them in a bad way. With each key, we provide a name and a value for that key. So the first key that we're going to define as an environment variable is our access key. So I'm going to copy the access key. Then I'll provide a name over here of AWS access key, and I'll paste the value in like so. And notice how we're going to make sure that display value in build log is not checked, because we do not want to display this value in the log. I'll then click on Add, and as you can see, it essentially gets tucked away, and I can no longer really get access to it. All right, now we're going to do the secret as well. So I'll copy the secret, make sure you get the entire secret. I'll go back over and I'll define a second key. I'll call this one AWS secret key, and I'll paste in the value for that as well. And then I'll hit add. All right, so we've now got our two access keys, or both the access key and the secret key, successfully encrypted on Travis CI. We'll now go back over to our travis.yaml file, and inside of here, we're going to say, hey, I have an access key for you, but you're going to get it from the local environment configuration. So I'll say access key ID is going to come from the environment variable of $AWS access key. And for secret access key, we'll say secure AWS secret key. And I personally actually had to wrap this in double quotes like so. So you might want to do that as well. According to the documentation, I don't think you have to, but I found that you had to. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So now after Travis CI attempts to build our project and run our tests, it will then attempt to deploy our application over to Elastic Beanstalk. So as the very last thing, we're going to commit all the work that we have now done, and we're going to push it up to the master branch on GitHub. Again, we're going to eventually use this kind of nice feature branch flow, but for right now, we just want to make sure things are working, so we're going to push directly to master. So I'm going to go back over to my terminal. I'll do a git status and just double check to make sure, yep, I changed that file. I'll do a git add, a git commit, and I'll say something like added Travis deploy config, and then I'll do a git push origin master. All right, so now again, if I flip back over to Travis CI and go back to my dashboard for my project, in just a moment or two, I'll see something appear right here that says, okay, we're running a new build. And just like before, you might have to refresh the page to get that to actually pop up. So I'll do so now. And it looks like it's not quite coming in just yet, but it should just any moment. So let's take a quick break right here. I'll let the build finish up, and then we'll continue in the next section.